Okay, so today my girlfriend and I, we're going to be watching this video from 1950s America where they are giving dating advice and some tips on etiquette and how you should treat a girl on a date. So I'm curious to get your opinion and see if you think some things were better in the 1950s when it comes to dating and how to treat a lady.
I think some things are probably still going to hold true, and I think some things are going to make me laugh.
Some things will make you
Maybe
laugh.
scare me a little.
Okay, well, let's see. Do you think carnival is a good first date for a teenage couple?
It's not my cup of tea, but I think a lot of people would think it was fun.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Whose company would you enjoy? Well, one thing you can consider is looks. Woody thought of Janice and how good-looking she was. He'd really have to rate to date somebody like her. Except, well, it's too bad Janice always acts so superior and bored. She'd make a fellow feel awkward and inferior.
Are they just saying that all pretty girls are bitchy?
I don't know.
What about Anne? She knows how to have a good time and how to make the fellow with her relax, have fun too.
I think it's more about that you should pick a date that you enjoy spending time with, not just who's good looking.
Well, Woody decided he'd ask Anne for this first date. But just how should he ask her? And what if she refused?
How do you think a guy should ask you on a date? Do you think it should be in person, via text?
I mean, I think it
call?
depends how you guys met. If you guys have met in person, I think it should be maybe something like a little bit more personal. But if you guys are meeting on Tinder, then you kind of have to ask via a text.
No, it won't be easy asking for that first date.
But one thing I will say is that I think men are afraid to be direct about asking women on dates because they're afraid of rejection. And it could be very daunting for a woman to accept a date request if she doesn't really know what the man's intentions are. And I think because men are afraid of rejection, sometimes they forget that you want someone who's enthusiastic about going on a date with you. You don't want someone to go on a date with you because they're not sure if it's a date or not.
Right, yeah. So you think some guys sometimes try and trick you into like a friend hangout or a group hangout?
I think so. I don't even know if it's even intentionally so malicious, just as like softening the way that they ask it because they're nervous.
Okay. What do you think if a guy literally used the word date? Like, could we go on a date?
That's something that I like.
You like that? Okay.
And honestly, like, even if it's a man who I wouldn't have seen like a romantic possibility with, I respect him a lot more for being direct and having the like gumption and like, I don't know, also just respect for me to
let you know what you're getting in for.
Yeah, to show me his intentions.
Absolutely.
Hey, what you doing?
Just thinking.
Don't work too hard.
He looks like the guy from Sex Ed.
Otis?
Yes.
No, he doesn't.
He looks like
He
if
looks
Otis
way
got like
cooler
a
than- he looks
Riz,
way
like if you
cooler.
gave Otis 3 more Riz levels.
The main guy looks like Otis.
Ann, this is Woody. Well, I have a ticket for the High Teen Carnival Saturday, and, well, would you like to go?
Okay, so this is like a lost art. Calling a girl to ask her on a date. Let's say you were talking to a guy on Tinder and you had each other's numbers, so you were texting. What if he just called you out of the blue to ask you on a date?
I personally would like that, but I know that a lot of people our age don't enjoy phone calls.
That's true. They get anxious about.
I think maybe a nice middle ground would be a voice message.
Voice message, okay.
Because
That's
it's
good.
more personal.
Yeah.
Well, shall I pick you up about 8 o'clock?
That's fine, Woody. 8 o'clock Saturday. I think it's...
And do you think it's important to offer to pick your date up as a man?
I think it's nice to offer, but you need to make sure that you're okay receiving a no with it, because a lot of women feel safest the first time they're meeting a guy, getting there themselves and getting home there themselves. If she says no to you picking her up, you could offer to pay for an Uber if you really feel like being a gentleman and like taking care of her transportation. But that does it in a way where she might still feel safer, you know?
I'm getting ready for my date tonight with Woody. Oh, he's nice. A date, huh? What'll you do? Go to some fancy place for dinner? No, silly. We're going to the High Teen Carnival. And then he'll bring me home. Oh, that doesn't sound like much. We'd have fun at the carnival, you and I, wouldn't we? Oh, yes. Well, Woody and I are going to have fun in just that way. I think the important thing about a date is to have a good time. You don't need to spend a lot of money to do that.
That's true.
True. Mm-hmm. What are some good cheap dates?
I think actually one of our favorites is that we go on picnics. Like we have a picnic basket and a picnic blanket, and we'll make a little lunch. And
that's true.
Yeah.
Mom, do we have any cleaning fluid? There's a spot on my coat.
Goodness, you know we have some. Oh, here, let me.
No, I'll do it.
That's it, son. Look your best. Your first date is mighty important.
Yeah.
Good advice from Dad.
You looked good on our first date.
Thank you. So did you.
Flowers. Anne won't expect flowers, will she?
Huh? Oh, I hardly think so. I'm taking these to Mary because it's a special occasion. Of course, if you want to take flowers anyway, I guess there's no law against it.
But I don't have to unless it's a ritzy affair.
What do you think about bringing flowers on a first date? Too much?
I think it's too much on a first date, but I think if you had a really nice first date with someone, showing up to a second date like that shows that you really appreciated them and that you're excited.
That's a good idea. Also, you have to think about what you're going to do on the date, because they might not want to carry around flowers.
Yeah, if you guys are going hiking, not the best idea.
Yeah. I love seeing like the teenagers of the 1950s going around in suits and dresses.
It's cute.
Yeah.
I do wish people dressed a bit more like this now.
Well, why did I start this channel? You know.
How do you say goodnight?
Okay, what do you think is a respectful and romantic way to end a date?
I think that's assuming that the date went well.
Let's say the date went well, yeah.
I think a kiss goodnight is a good way.
Okay.
But I will say, I think sometimes men aren't always the best at reading if a date went well, because I've had plenty of first dates where guys thought it went fantastic and I can't wait to get home. So I think you can be romantic while still asking, like, can I kiss you now?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I got scolded for doing that once on a first date.
You can do it awkwardly. I think maybe
I
your delivery
didn't do
was
it.
possibly not so good.
Maybe.
But
Maybe.
I think if the chemistry is there, asking something like that isn't going to be awkward. If
Okay.
you feel awkward asking it, then the chemistry's probably not there and you probably shouldn't be kissing her.
And what if the date went badly? What do you think is a polite and respectful way to end it?
As someone who's done this many times, you can just say, like, I had a really nice time getting to know you. I'm not feeling any chemistry, but it was really nice having this conversation with you. Thank you so much for spending your evening with me.
Okay, yeah.
I think a lot of people have trouble being that direct, though. So you could just say, like, hey, I had a nice time, good night. And then you can send a text saying, like, hey, I'm not feeling the connection between us, but thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah, I think just the worst thing will be to say something at the end of the day which makes them think that you want to see them again.
You don't
and
want to
then
say,
text
like,
them afterwards.
let's do this again sometime, and then be like, ugh, but the connection wasn't there.
Yeah. I think like connection or spark is always a polite way of declining further dates. You know? So it's this excuse that won't hurt anybody's feelings.
It's very abstract.
It is, yes.
So.
Well, let's see how this guy ends his date.
Don't, please.
But Anne,
Or it could go this way.
well, so long.
Just like that. After all, a girl likes to know you've had a good time. So let's try saying goodnight again. One more way.
Well, it's getting late.
Yes, it is. I'd ask you in for a bite to eat if it weren't so late. Let's plan to get home in time for a sandwich or something next time.
Say, that sounds good. I'll call you next week.
Will you? Well, thanks so much. I had loads of fun.
So did I.
Good night, Woody.
Night, Ann.
What do you think of that ending to the
I think
date?
it was cute.
Yeah. I mean, these guys are also pretty young, they're like probably 15, 16.
I think so. But even today, I think there's plenty of people who are very invested in the emotional connection. And I think it's also okay to not kiss on a first date when you're planning to see someone again.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think in that case, because there's often an expectation to like kiss at the end of the first date, I would make it really, really clear that you had a great time and you want to see them again.
Okay.
Kind of like how they did here.
Sure.
But I do think it's okay to not do that.
Yeah, I think generally it's more women will be hesitant to kiss on the first date. I think lots of guys would like to. So it's more often like a boundary that you have to read from the woman of whether to kiss or not.
I mean, I think that's why you can ask.
Right, sure. But you can still talk about how well the date went. And
Yeah.
plan for a second one.
I think so.
So it's not always the end of the world if you don't kiss on the first date. Yeah.
And I think sometimes even that can happen just like if a guy gets nervous about asking or something like that. Or, I don't know, like maybe just the first part of the date went great and then like something was tricky at the end or something like that, you know?
I see.
I think just having really clear communication and setting that up as like your foundation, like you can always give her a call the next day and be like, hey, maybe like our last half hour was a bit awkward, but I had such a good time with you and like I just got nervous about something, or like just explain what happened. I think women appreciate being open and honest. And I think sometimes men are afraid to admit that they get nervous or,
Absolutely. Yeah. I think there's this expectation that you have to be like an actor, be perfect, and everything has to be polished. But I think it's okay to be a human and to be transparent about your feelings. Yeah.
I think women appreciate vulnerability.
That was the end of the date. So overall, what did you think of dating advice from the 1950s?
Honestly, I was expecting it to be a little more controversial, but I feel like a lot of it held true.
I think so, yeah. I think this was definitely like more how to play it safe.
Yeah.
He was very like restrained and respectful. But overall, it's not a bad approach to take, I think.
I think so. I think it was also aimed, as you're pointing out, at like 15 and 16-year-olds. So I think it was very PG.
Absolutely, yeah. But we also have some younger guys watching this channel who are maybe under 18 and need to do some kind of alternative dates to restaurants and bars.
Cocktail bars. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And, date in a slightly more restrained manner, and people are still quite new to dating. I think it's important to be respectful.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. When I started this channel, I always had the ambition that we would discuss things like etiquette and dating. So let me know in the comments if you would like to see more videos about these topics. And I hope you enjoyed it. I'll catch you guys on the next one.